Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you here today with an article from PJ Media dated November 19th, and it says the least qualified nominee for high office ever. Who could they possibly be referring to? I don't know. Not at all. I wonder. So it says, when Donald Trump shocked the world... God, come on, mouse, work with me here. It says, when Donald Trump shocked the world by winning office in 2016, I was still laboring away among the lefties and corporate media, not yet rescued by PJ Media. Who wrote this? Who was a lefty before? Athena Thorne. Okay. It says, thus I was subjected to the daily bitter inanities of that political persuasion. Naturally, everything the newly elected president did was the worst thing ever. In all caps, yeah, exactly. It says, then as now, lefties love to disparage Trump's cabinet picks and other nominees as unqualified and inferior. When he named school choice advocate Betsy DeVos as U.S. Department of Education Secretary, for example, my coworkers fumed that under the Trump administration, experience was clearly not required to hold a high office. And Joe Biden's regime is certainly doubling and tripling down on that. Just look at practically all of their major nominees. It's like, how do you know how? Excuse me, hiccups. How do you know how to do that? And the answer is you don't. I fantasize daily, and not me, but the author, about leaping atop a desk and rounding on all of them. You all carry on about Trump's picks not having enough experience for their jobs, I would shout in my fantasy, and yet every one of you voted for Barack Obama in 2008. It was true. My left-leaning colleagues were all massive Obama supporters. During the first-term junior senator's 2008 campaign, I would point out that the man had zero executive experience and hadn't run so much as a hot dog stand, and they shrugged it off. It doesn't matter. I know he'll surround himself with smart people. They deflect. We all know how that went. President Obama did indeed surround himself with smart, in scare quotes, people in the sense that he picked a lot of academic eggheads with no private sector experience to staff his administration. He expanded budget-busting entitlements, disemployed whole sectors, polarized and politicized everything, and did pioneering work in the weaponization of governmental agencies against his political enemies. Yeah, and as someone who was not politically awake at all during the Obama era, even then I could still tell that something was wrong. And that's why I voted for Romney in 2012, was because by that point I was already just something just doesn't feel right about what's happening in this country. And I blamed him at that time. But, if you go in the media will tell you the whole time, there were never any scandals. He didn't have a single one. It's you're not doing your job if you honestly think that, because it's if you just go look into his stuff even a little bit, here's just a summary right here. This last sentence here of stuff that he did. So there's books written on it. I would recommend going and checking those out. It says, well, what else did anyone expect from a man of Obama's background? Let's review his oh-so-impressive CV at the time he first applied for the job of leader of the free world. So this is 2 years doing corporate research at the New Public Interest Research Group. I don't know what that is. So several years as a community organizer with a church-based group, the Developing Communities Project. Summer associate, whatever that is, at the Chicago law firm Sidley Austin. 12 years as senior lecturer at the University of Chicago Law School, which is a part-time position. 8 years as Illinois State Senator, classified as full-time light position by the National Conference of State Legislatures. 4 years as the junior senator from Illinois, 2 of which were spent running for president. Has Ivy League degrees, wrote a book about himself, gave a really good speech once, and identifies as black. So that's it. That's all it took to convince my lefty co-workers that Obama was qualified to leverage the mighty leviathan of the U.S. federal apparatus. His executive resume was so thin that at one point, Obama declared that running his own campaign had provided him with executive experience. Talk about on-the-job learning. Now the lefties and their establishment Republican allies are wailing and gnashing their teeth that Trump AG nominee Matt Gaetz is unqualified. So obviously at the time that this article was written, Matt Gaetz was the nominee. He has since pulled himself out of that. And it's Pam Bondi, who is a former attorney general of Florida, who people tend to like for the most part, that is now the nominee. So just updating with a little asterisk there of my own. So it's true that the man is relatively young at 42 years of age. He earned his Juris Doctor from the William & Mary Law School in 2007 and was admitted to the Florida bar in 2008. He spent several years as an attorney with the Florida law firm before he was elected to serve in the Florida House in 2010. And after 7 years of service there, he put in 7 more years in the U.S. House. Speaker Mike Johnson says he's known as one of the most intelligent members of Congress. So, yeah, so for people saying, yeah, he doesn't have experience, I mean, again, assuming Gaetz is still the nominee, obviously he has more experience doing this than Obama did before being or trying to become president. So perhaps Gates' most important experience is as the target of the Biden administration's weaponized DOJ. That department is in desperate need of discipline, cleansing, and reform. Its wanton use of armed raids on the homes of political enemies, from pro-life demonstrators to journalists to a past president, its ceaseless quest for dirt on Orange Man Bad, its ludicrous judicial discretionary decisions, and more make it the poster child for a Trumpian reset come January, which we're still going to have. So is Matt Gaetz as deeply experienced and qualified as we generally expect a cabinet-level nominee to be? Not really, but he does have a fairly unique experience set that suits the position nicely at this time. And besides, I'm sure he'll surround himself with the very best people. Yeah. So, yeah, even though the article kind of turns around and is like about Matt Gaetz, but it's trying to tell you that, like, the people that are complaining about having Matt Gaetz or even some of other Trump's other nominees that are saying have no experience, like Pete Hegseth, their Secretary of Defense, are going to sit there and tell you they have no experience, but then you turn around and go, well, what about President Obama? And it's like, well, his experience is even less than all these other people have that Trump's picking for their positions. So do you agree with that or not? Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.